Hello, everyone. I'm your host, Dr. Bob Lee, and you're watching Open. It's that live interactive program that brings the Bronx and New York City straight to your TV set. You can stay connected to us through social media at BronxNet TV. Leading things off, our first guest is the columnist for the Amsterdam News and a senior director and editor of Forever Harlem. And he joins us today to speak about his weekly column, Jazz Notes, and to highlight his contributions to the book, Forever Harlem. Celebrating America's most diverse community, please welcome to the show, Ron Scott. Welcome.
Dr. Bob Lee, what's going on?
Nice to see you, my bro.
I haven't seen you in ages, man. I hear you all the time, and I hear about you, but I haven't actually spoken to you in a while.
Well, we hear a lot about you, and you're doing some fantastic things. Tell us about the work that you're doing as a jazz journalist columnist.
Well, first, I'd like to just give a shout out to Eleanor Tatum, the publisher, and the editors, Kristen and Ayaba at the Amsterdam News for giving me this platform to write about the music that I love so much, jazz. And
well, give them a virtual hug for me.
Oh yeah, I definitely will. It's let me just say this. It's weird because I always wanted to write for the Amsterdam News, which sounds kind of strange as a writer because most writers want to write for the New York Times, the Daily News, Vogue magazine, New York, or whatever. Although I have written for the Daily News on many occasions. I've written for the New York Times, but growing up, you know, like if you go back to the 60s, the Amsterdam News in Harlem, or actually around the country because the Chicago Defender and all of those papers were out then. But if you wrote for the Amsterdam News in Harlem, you were the man or the woman. You know, it's like Jimmy Booker and Jimmy Hicks at the time were writing for the Amsterdam. And when you saw them in the street, you were like, oh, wow.
There they go.
Jimmy Hicks, he writes for the Amsterdam News, you know? So it was people of color that I saw. You know, like my father was a maintenance man for the New York Times, right? He brought the New York Times home all the time. But I never saw anybody to work for the New York Times, you know. But when he brought home the Amsterdam News and the Blackfoots, I was like, oh, okay. And we were living in Harlem at one point. So it's like, yeah, if I wrote for them, you know, and wow, it's like a dream come true, you know. And doing like now, during the pandemic, I've had an opportunity to write a lot of different stuff that I ordinarily wouldn't write about in jazz notes.
Yeah, because a lot of the clubs are shut down, so you were able to get a little more creative.
Yeah, and also at the same time, there's so much going on in the country right now. I mean, the brutal police killing of George Floyd, you know, so I got a chance to write about events and the Black culture of America as veered towards racism, you know, and police brutality. You know, I had the opportunity to write a op-ed page on looting, you know, so I've been able to branch out, but as you mentioned, going back to the jazz clubs in COVID, it's like, there's no live music, right? So as you mentioned, I've had to like become more creative. But it's the same instance as all the musicians and club owners had to become more creative. I mean, like we're on Zoom now. Zoom is like the new thing. If we all had purchased stock in Zoom like a few years ago, we'd all be killing now, right?
Who would have known, right?
You know, so all of the majority of the jazz clubs are doing live streaming because they can't bring in an audience. I think the only jazz club I think that actually has the audience. 25% is Keystone Corner in Maryland. That's owned by Todd Barkin.
Yeah.
You know, and he just reopened his club for audience on Valentine's Day, February 14th. But everyone else is just doing the live streams. And
but
on one hand,
Go ahead.
On one hand, I think the live streamings are great, but I think it may be that extra money coming in once the jazz clubs are able to get the audience in again. Because if they've developed, if you're a jazz club, right, and you're paying 10 and you're charging $10 for a live stream, and you get 1,000 people from around the world, you're in the money. So now when you go back to the audience, if you continue to do the live stream, I think it'll be a good thing.
I think people are pretty resilient. You know, they find ways to supplement their income in some cases. For instance, I was on a line with we did a big Zoom with Freddie Jackson, Gerald Austin, and a number of other people, and they were writing songs during this time. They were writing songs, and they let us hear it and all of that. And they're doing some creative work right in their very homes. You know, how has and it's kind of easier to get people too, because you know most likely they're not on the road, they're not touring, they must be in their homes. So it's kind of easy. Like for us, you know, for somebody to come all the way into our studios, you know, sometimes they have a rough time. They may be in California, but you're able to get them now. How has your contacts been so far? Are you able to? You have better access to them? Or you've always had great access.
Right, but as you noted, it's better, you know, because everybody is home, you know. Or if I call someone and they're not there, you know, I'm like, where are you? And then
they're walking the dog.
Say, oh, I was at the supermarket, you know. Because the joke is we only go in two places: to the supermarket or to a dentist appointment, doctor's appointment, or something, and that's it.
Yeah,
you know, like you said, no one's gigging. I mean, I know Desiree Douglas, the bassist, and Brandy, the plays harp. They actually recorded a CD out of their apartment using an iPhone and a laptop.
That's right.
You know,
I'm telling you, people becoming
and one microphone.
And one microphone. Listen, can you speak to us about your weekly column and how that's going right about now?
You know, Bob, it's really working good. Instead of covering live jazz clubs, I've resorted to covering live streams.
Gotcha.
You know, so Marcus Gilmore, the drummer, he did a live stream recently at the Village Vanguard.
Yeah.
And I did a piece on that. The Jazz Gallery, they've been having exceptional musicians come in for their live stream. So I've been doing, I've been reviewing that, interviewing some of the artists, and just like the live. Sometimes I do a pre thing and say, hey, so and so is going to be at the Jazz Gallery, you know, or I just saw someone at the Vanguard or wherever, or you know, I've actually done reviews from the Keystone Corner in Maryland, because like I said, now everything is live streamed. So I look at stuff from California jazz clubs, you know, San Francisco Jazz. They have a really good live stream program. You know, so it's working out. It's like as you said, we adjust and we move forward.
That's right. That's right. So you are also a member of the New York Association of Black Journalists. Are you working with anybody, mentoring anyone, bringing them about, bringing them, showing them what to do?
Yeah, I'm actually mentoring 2 or 3 young people. Actually 4. One is a musician.
Yeah.
You know, so it's mentoring and more a matter of just keeping them focused or suggesting other ideas is more what it is. Like, okay, you're doing this, maybe you could open it up and do a little more. And it's good because I'm learning just as I may be learning more from them than you're learning from me.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely, because they know all the social media, they know the ins and outs of that. So a lot of times, you know, they're up on what's happening, and that's what keeps me up too. You know, visiting those schools in the morning, you find out the new lingo and what they're talking about, and you know what's happening, what's zooming.
Right.
So, where can we find more information about you and everything that you're doing?
So when you talk about social media and older folks like me not being aware, so I don't have a website. I do Instagram, you know, but I need, and all of these young people are telling me, "Oh, Ron, you need to get a website, man. You need to do Twitter. You need, you know." Listen, it took me 3 years to get to doing Instagram. You know, so I'm getting there, doctor. I'm getting there.
Yeah.
You know,
just tap into one of those 4 young people and say, "Hey, you know, you want to do my social media for me?"
and I'm on the verge of doing that, of getting someone to help me do this whole social media thing.
But we can find you on Instagram right now, though, right?
Right. You definitely find me on Instagram, and you can read my weekly column in the Amsterdam, or you could go online to NewYorkAmsterdamNews.com, and the paper comes up, and you can read my columns there.
That's great. But your Instagram is also under Ron Scott?
Yeah, what is it? It's Ron_Scott Jazz.
Got it. Hey, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. We have to get together. And
hey, definitely, man. When this is over, you know, we'll hook up in Harlem and have a bite to eat or something.
All right. Thank you so much, Ron Scott. Ron Scott, jazz journalist for the Amsterdam News. We appreciate you. Stay safe, stay blessed. We love you. All right, we'll take a break right here. We got more Open coming up next.